There comes a point where you have to ask yourself, who are you when nobody needs anything from you? Not who you are at work, not who you are for your family, not who you are when you're showing up for everyone else, but who are you when everything slows down and there's nothing to respond to? That question, it stays with you for a moment. Hello, and welcome back to FoxxTV Healing and Wisdom Podcast. I am your host, Andrea Fox, and of course, Rick the Plant is right here with me, steady as always. I'm really glad you're here today. This conversation is one of those that make you pause just a little, not in an overwhelming way, but in a thoughtful way. I want to talk about something that we don't always stop to think about, and that is, who are you without the titles? Because if you think about it, we all carry them. Parent, employee, manager, a caregiver, friend, business owner, content creator. And over time, those titles can start to feel like who we are. Not just what we do, but who we are. And there's nothing wrong with that. Those roles matter. They shape our lives. They give us structure and responsibility. But at some point, you might start to wonder, if I set all of that down for a moment, who am I underneath it? I had a moment like that not too long ago. Not anything major, just in a more settled, reflective way, where I realized showing up for responsibilities, handling what's in front of me, and I must say I do it well, but I ask myself, when everything slows down, when I'm not needed in that moment, who am I then? I didn't rush to answer it because it's not a quick question. It's not something you answer in one sentence. It's something you begin to notice. You start noticing what brings you peace when nothing is required of you. What your thoughts sound like when you're not performing. What you're drawn to when no one is watching. And that space can feel unfamiliar at first because we're used to being identified by what we do, used to being known for how we show up for others, used to being needed. But identity runs deeper than responsibility. There's a version of you that exists before the roles, before the expectations, before the titles were ever placed on your life. And sometimes that version of you gets quieter in the background, not lost, just not at the front. Because life gets full, responsibilities grow, people depend on you. You step into roles that matter, and slowly, without even realizing it, you start introducing yourself by what you do instead of who you are. But here's what I'm learning. You are not only valuable when you are needed. You are not only meaningful when you are producing something, you are not only defined by how well you carry your roles. There is something steady about who you are that exists beyond all of that. And when you begin to sit with that, something shifts, not all at once, but gradually. You start to feel less pressure to perform all the time, less pressure to constantly prove something, less pressure to be everything in every moment. Because you begin to understand that your identity is not fragile. It's not dependent on how well everything is going. It's not tied to how much you accomplish in one day. It's something deeper, something more grounded. And for me, this is where my faith centers everything. Because before I was ever given a title, before I stepped into any role, I was already known by God, already seen, already valued. And that doesn't change based on how productive I am, or how much I get done, or even how well I show up in every role. That stays the same. So now I'm learning how to come back to that, not abandoning my responsibilities, but not losing myself in them either. Learning how to sit in a moment without needing to do anything. Learning how to be present without thinking about what's next. Learning how to recognize myself outside of everything I carry. And I won't pretend it's automatic. It takes intention, because the world constantly pulls you back into roles, into expectations, into doing. But every now and then you get a moment where nothing is pulling at you. And in that moment, you start to reconnect, not with your titles, but with yourself. So if you've never asked yourself that question, maybe today is a good day to sit with it. Who are you when everything slows down? Not what do you do, not what are you responsible for, not what are you known for, but who are you, really? And don't rush to answer. Let it come to you over time, in small ways, in moments that feel true without effort. Before you move on from this moment, I want to leave you with something simple. At some point today, take 10 minutes for yourself. No phone, no distractions, no roles to step into. Just sit with yourself, not to figure everything out, not to come up with answers, but just to notice. Notice how you feel. Notice what comes up. Notice who you are in that space, because it's that version of you, the one that isn't performing or responding. That's the part of you that often gets pushed aside, and that's the part worth getting to know. So take a deep breath with me. You are more than what you carry. I want to thank you for spending this time with me today. These conversations, they do matter. And as always, Rick the Plant and I are right here with you, growing, learning, and moving through life one day at a time. If this episode meant something to you, share it with someone who may need to hear it too. And if you haven't already, follow the podcast so you don't miss what's next. Until the next time, stay grounded, stay present, and remember, you are more than your titles. Peace and blessings.